It's 26 degrees Celsius here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to your daily dose of sunshine, Sunrise Daily. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
Well, it's getting a bit warmer in Lagos already, 28 degrees, and guess what? It's June 8th, 28 degrees in Lagos. I'm Ayo Makinde. Welcome to the program.
Well, Ayo, you know, in a country where most times what we hear are very sad and disturbing stories, it is very noteworthy to be able to celebrate something this morning, especially given the news that we heard from Operation Hadinkai in Borno State, where 360 villagers were rescued high up in a mountain there in Borno. And the sister and children of Nigeria's former Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, also regained their freedom. Now, beyond the relief for the affected families, the development still raises broader questions about the security situation in parts of the country, the ongoing efforts of the military, and what more must be done to ensure that communities are protected from abductions and violence. But it is very heartwarming to see the stories of victory, the stories of resilience, the stories that there is still hope that indeed our armed forces, our police officers are still very capable if given the equipment and the enabling conditions and the enabling environment to be able to thrive. But I do not know how this news hit you, Ayo, but when I did see that video, because you know oftentimes there are always questions as to when we see these stories of release, we'll ask, was it a release? Was it a rescue? Was it, you know, an exchange? What exactly transpired? While many times a lot of people are cynical about that, it was a little heartwarming to see that what happened in Ibadan was truly a release. In Borno State, the army, the military tells us that it was a rescue as well. Oh, beg your pardon. I think in Oyo it was also a rescue. In Oyo, beg your pardon, in Borno State as well, it was also a rescue. That's what the military says, that they actually had a shootout. So much so that the militants or the fighters had no option than to surrender. And that was how they were able to secure the rescue of these people. But I don't know what you made of the video that has now made the rounds. I heard our colleagues you know, on the morning brief asking the spokesperson, the Oyo police spokesperson, you know, what they intended to achieve with the release of that video. And he said, oh, that wasn't from us. We saw the video just as you saw it as well. But clearly, it appears that our authorities certainly have a statement to make with the video which they released, because there's always that controversy as to whether was it a release, was it a rescue? Whatever the case is, I think a lot of Nigerians are just happy that these ones are back home. Then we can face the rest that are still outside. How did this news hit you, Ayo?
It's the optics, Mawpe, and I'm happy for the former minister. I'm really happy for him. But it's the optics. You know, there are those who would wonder, you know, there are those who have also said that, look, all of this is just for some kind of show and all of that. When the governor of Oyo State visited the former minister, Adelabu, he was smiling. He was chuckling. Well, maybe because he saw the governor and all. There are those who would ask questions about whether or not it was not something, you know, it's just the optics, right? And that happened, the Ibadan occurrence happened after, well after the one that took place in Ogbomoso. So there are those who will be asking questions. Is it because the minister is a former minister? Or is it because of his status that this happened so quickly? You also may be aware of that video making the rounds when Bishop Oyedepo was preaching, and he cited an example of what would happen if the so-called bandits would come out to say they want to kidnap the son of the president, that what would happen. Of course, he said that in passing, and he was just making an example of course, that he said they would think twice before they do that. So is this what is playing out here? And so then the children of the people in Ogbomoso, is it because there are prominent people among them? And to the statement the PRO in Oyo State made that it wasn't from them, it was from someone else, oh well, there's something in communication, you know, that says that you can do some things, you know, by proxy. It'll be difficult for government or any authority to convince Nigerians that this is not all just for optics. We are grateful for all the people who have been released and for the families who have been reunited with their young, with their children, with their family members that have been abducted over time. We are grateful. I have always expressed confidence in the Nigerian security intelligentsia. I have always expressed that confidence, and I have no doubt about it. But for those who may be playing politics with the lives of Nigerians, if anything happens and for whatever reason you come into power, don't forget that you sowed. You're going to reap. It's just, unfortunately, it's just as simple as that. So it goes back, Malkwe, to the question of what the security agencies can do to prevent, because the primary responsibility of the police is not to fight crime. It is to prevent crime. And these things happening all around is questioning a lot of things about whether or not their primary responsibility is being taken seriously. That's my take, Malkwe.
Indeed, I mean, there are always many prisms from which to look at this. I mean, some people will say are some more important than others. I mean, clearly, especially in a state like Oyo, where there had been previous abductions, and as we speak, those children are taken from Urire local government area, taken from the Baptist school, and a number of other schools in that community are still in the den of the abductors, and we've seen, you know, beheadings, punishments, torture being meted out to those people in captivity. Clearly, if the idea behind the video was to show that, oh, well, we're still capable, I think a lot of Nigerians, while they are grateful and, you know, they are happy to see that at least something is being done, they want to see that capability being demonstrated in the release of these people, these children that were taken from their schools in Urire community. They also want to see it being demonstrated in the release of those who were taken in Kwara as well, those who were taken in Ekiti, and the children also taken in Borno as well. So there is still so much more for the military and the police to show that, you know, they are capable, and that whatever little confidence people are beginning to gain as a result of what they're doing, that they build upon it, and that they're able to bring back what those that have been taken. I don't want to say those that have been lost, because they're not lost. They're not lost just yet. We refuse to take that they're lost. So we are hopeful that indeed all that has been stolen from us by these marauding kidnappers, terrorists, that will be taken back, and that some order will be restored to our land. It is a prayer that we have, while we also continue to tell them that we appreciate them, but clearly we want a lot more to be done. Well, talking about more and talking about incidences, yesterday we're also told that in Kogi State, what could have been a very serious situation was also successfully foiled yesterday. They say a security, that there was a terrorist attack, a potential terrorist attack in Ikoyi, Ijumu local government area of Kogi State, but that they were able to prevent what could have resulted in a major security crisis. According to a statement, a pretty lengthy statement released by the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Communication, he said the incident occurred around 7 p.m. on Saturday, June the 6th, when a group of Tiv residents violated the state government's security protocol restricting public social gatherings beyond 4 p.m. Taking advantage of the gathering, they said armed bandits launched an attack with the apparent intention of abducting participants and creating panic within the community. but we understand that that was foiled with Kogi State security architecture, which they say is made up of Nigerian military, officers of the Nigerian Police Force, operatives of the Kogi State Vigilante Services, and local hunters who mobilized to the scene. Well, we're getting a lot more on what transpired in that particular local government, Ijumu local government area. We understand the place is called Ikoyi. As the state security advisor to the Kogi state government joins us now, is retired Navy Commander Jerry Omodara. Good morning, Navy Commander. It's good to have you on the program with us this morning. And clearly, we are glad to see that this particular situation was foiled, even though we understand one life was lost in the incident. Can you give us a little more of what particularly transpired and how it was that the security architecture was informed of this breach?
Thank you very much, Maupe. And I say good morning to Ayo in Lagos. What the Commissioner of Information pushed out was very true. The incident happened at about 7 p.m. And we have the situation in terms of security as far as Kogi is concerned to respond immediately, because there must be reports, and we have within the 239 wards in the state where you must report what is happening. And beside that, we have the deployment from 12th Brigade that are strategically located. Ikoyi is a community maybe just about less than 25 minutes away from Ekiti State. From Iyamoye down to Ekiriade, you are talking of Ikoyi and Ife. We used to have series of security challenges in that area in the last maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And these incidents truly, apart from the fact that some people violated the order of the state, in which we will handle very well, we went beyond what the commissioner have given to make sure to know where are they coming from, because we will not be having incidents or challenge of that sort within Yamoye down to Kaba. We used to have between Yara and Kaba, in which we've been able to take care. We have deployment around those places. However, we're able to respond very well because we have first line security in terms of our hunters and Kogi military service providing within each community who gave directive, you must have learned first line defense. This group will be able to go further to know where they came from. There is a particular group operating, bandits operating between Ogori Magogo, Okene, and Adab, moving towards Ijumu. It is that group that did it. We've been able to eliminate 2 of those bandits in the last 2 months. They are still within those areas. And immediately this happened, they will usually come out from within Ogidi, down to those areas, moving towards Okonkwo in Ondo State. Now, knowing fully that we are after them, they now move to this area in Ikoyi. We are going after them, we will get them, and the story will be out.
Well, that's something we look forward to, because it appears that what you have now put in place is a protocol whereby people cannot meet or cannot gather beyond 4 p.m., which is difficult in many rural communities, because in most rural communities, usually around evening, that's when they usually gather. That's when, some of their activities are done. Tell us more about this protocol. Why do you believe that a gathering beyond 4 p.m. then, puts them in danger?
To say the reality, we are talking of life. The state understands its terrain. Our topography will know what we are going through in terms of banditry in the state. What happens, we've known the time between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. These people will always come out. If the state understands its own terrain, its own nature and security challenges, and decide to come up with a protocol. That is what we can do now. It is not a permanent issue. The governor, in his own wisdom, working with security agencies, decided to come up with this, that separate, go to church, go to a mosque, have your ceremony, have your weddings. What are you doing after 4:30 p.m. that you cannot go back to your houses? Allow the security agencies to do their job. Allow that party that was done. I was able to find out it was birthday. What birthday are you doing that you cannot do from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.? Let's face reality. This is government. The government is a purposeful government. And we have what have been designed, not by the government itself, but with the advice of security agencies, the army, the navy, the DSS police that are here. They came out with this, and we look at the State Security Executive Council meeting, and we consider it as appropriate for us at this time until we are able to resolve all the issues of insecurity, which we are doing.
But the question is how quick, because clearly you have an idea of where these people are situated. You have an idea of where they're lodged. You have an idea of what time they normally would operate. What do you think really stands between us and being able to confront these people head on? They cannot be more than the apparatus of the state, the apparatus of force that a state, even a state government, wields. Can they?
I truly agree with you. As far as we are concerned, they are not within communities. They are in the forest. And that is why the state have a defined activities, including clearance operations by security agencies, joint operations, in which we are doing. When we equally have technical support, lawful intercept is ongoing for us to identify where they are. We locate them. We are having series of clearance operations in Kogi, particularly in Kogi West, where the bandits are dominant. We are doing it. But remember, we are limited in some terms. Give Kogi State today, give me 3 helicopters within 3 weeks, and you see what is going to happen. We don't have those resources. We have to still look up. States don't have that funding. We are getting serious support from the National Security Advisor's Office. We are getting support from the service chiefs, IDP and DGDSS. They are assisting on what we do, but technically, Kogi is one of the leading in terms of technology deployment, in which we are using that is helping us. If Kogi is not proactive enough, Nigeria will not be like this, because we are the closest to the north. We are the closest to the south. We are doing the job. That is why you can still see Abuja is relatively peaceful. We know a lot of things where Kogi is having challenges of influx of bandits from Nasarawa, from Niger State, and Kwara State. We know all these things, and we are having that. And that is why you have more of Kogi West, particularly Lokoja local government, Kababunu, and Yagba West. The bandits from Kwara are the ones that are prudent in Yagba West, and few of them to Yagba East. Then we now have those coming from through Grenya, through Abugi, down to Bunu, and the one from Grenya down to Lokoja local government and Kogi local government. All this is what we are doing. If you hear one kidnap in Kogi, we've been able to prevent 9. That is what is going on.
Well, I know my colleague Ayo also has some questions for you. Ayo, over to you.
Well, thank you, Mokwe. It's good to see you, Commodore. One question that comes to mind readily now is, there are those who have always said that most of these insecurity issues, this banditry and all, they are politically affiliated. Is there any sign of such political affiliation or relation to this particular or any such incidents in Kogi State?
He claimed totally on politics. However, politics comes in when people now find it as a way to put pressure on government. However, what banditry was not known within the North Central before. We had it confined to Northeast. Gradually, From Boko Haram, we now start hearing banditry in the northwest. And today, both Boko Haram and banditry is a mixture within the north central. People have seen it. We saw it during the Jonathan regime. We saw it during Buhari re-election. When it's coming to election time, people use this type of issue as pressure on government. It is not the politics that created banditry, but it's an avenue for some people to continue to pressure the government. That is what I can say. There are a lot of things I will not be able to be telling you here.
Well, that's understandable. But then you spoke about funding the other time, and I was just wondering, because one of the things that even the federal government has said, I've listened to the president speak to governors, speak to traditional rulers, you know, and from time to time he will tell you, look, your governors are getting more money now, you know, talk to them, interface with them to do more for the people. And I would expect that one of those more would be this security, a more secure environment for the people in the various states. Add to that, I know, of course, they're getting some 200% more now of what they used to get before. Add to that the so-called security votes that we know usually goes, you know, to the governors. So I'm wondering whether you think that those could have been dispensed maybe a little more judiciously in this particular area, so that at least people can say, okay, we're getting a little more from our government than we used to get before in terms of security.
When you are talking of funding, no government can have it enough. However, no governor will also come out to tell you the lot they are doing behind the scene. I am aware. I know what Kogi is doing as far as security is concerned. The investment in drones in Kogi today is one of the top. To get those type of drone into our system, very high cost. To get the kind of clearance operations where you have to pay allowances, you have to provide vehicles, you have to provide fueling, you have to provide aviation fuel, and lots of other logistics to repair vehicles. It takes a lot of money. When you are having about 500 to 600 in the forest for 3 weeks, coming of forest, they must eat. This is where funding is critical. But there are some states that have this serious challenge. Even whatever thing they are getting from the federal government today must still have a step up, particularly Kogi State. I always advocate for special security intervention for Kogi, because Kogi is too central. If not for what Kogi is doing, Ekiti will be in for it today. If what Kogi is doing, in Ondo State, I relate with the State Security Advisor in Ondo, in Ekiti. We are talking with Ankwara. We are having blockages of influx to Sturogbe in Kogi West from entering Ekiti. And the Brigadier General Gundana, the State Security Advisor Ekiti, we confirm this to you. It all goes in for funding. We are going to the level of you acquiring more. Today, by this week, we'll be starting training of forest guard for Kogi State. All they have to eat, they have to sleep, they have to. A lot of things going on. When we just talk of security funding on the media, it is better we allow the government to work behind the scene to resolve insecurity for Nigeria.
Well, that is noted, Commodore. But I also know that one of the most important things, one of the most important assets any government, be it federal, state, or local, would use would be communication. If people don't know what they're doing, I mean, we're not saying come display everything that you're doing, but if people know what is going on, they might be able to have a little more confidence in government. And you may or may not agree with me, and that confidence has grossly depleted over the years. Now, another leg to this whole communication thing, this whole governance thing we're talking about, is the local government. All that you have said is valid. The state government is doing a lot, and of course you work with the state government. But there are those who would also tell you that the first line of defense in any state, any community, will be the local government administrations. I'm aware that local government administrations have their own security meetings as well. They have their own security systems. They have the traditional rulers, they have the DPOs, they have the DSS in their communities that they're supposed to be holding meetings with. Now, if those meetings are as effective as they should be, I think that would give the government a little more, the state government a little more reprieve, and the people in the communities a little more confidence. So tell us about that. Is there any such, activity or disadvantage in the workings of local government in Kogi State?
Kogi State is serving 31 local government. From 5 a.m. to the time we are before this program started, 4 local government chairmen have spoken with me. That is to tell you that the security, because crime is local. And the provision of security within the local government Kogi is solid. They have their funding, and they have security at the level, the grassroots. Even at what level? When we started this program, I told you that in 239 wards in Kogi, we have intelligence. The local government has their own, we have our own. There is nothing that happened in a local government within 1 hour that it will not be on my table, it will not be with the governor. With the security agencies, the local government, we equal. Just 4 days ago, all the local government chairmen in Kogi were with me in Lokoja for us to review each local government. If you don't have that, then nobody will pass through Kogi. We are truly doing it, but we need to do more. We continue to do more, and we continue to relate more. At area level, DPOs, they must brief the commissioner of police, who is very active on his table. We are having it down within the local government level. The director there says, reaches out to his own people. They report to him. All these are happening at local level. When we talk of talking about putting Thompson in the media, there's nothing but in making sure we get the meat. The need to know basis. If the people are not aware, then there will be a problem. However, I will even suggest there are a lot of things you see in media, in most of the national television, that you feel sorry that why this thing. Let's take it. The Chief of Defense Staff, I will suggest service chiefs, IG police, director GSS must organize workshops and seminars for media on things, you must put the interest of the nation first. There are videos, there are social media videos that find itself on national televisions. All these things are not filters. It's dangerous for the system, it's dangerous for the country. The media, they are doing well in Nigeria. However, we must filter some things. Not everything goes on media. There are a lot of people you bring on discussions. They give good, useful discussion. However, there are people that they just pick things on social media to come and speak on, which sometimes will be 3 years video. Somebody is making it that it happened somewhere last week. That is the danger we are having. There are a lot of things going on in the media that we really need. There must be, when we had the beginning of this democracy in 2009. No, in 1999, I remember the U.S. Embassy, I was still in the Navy, organized 1 week training for media with media management in military, whereby they train people on what to know, reporting in democracy. All these things must not be stopped. The military must educate. They know better. There are things that goes on, like the video you are talking about in Oyo. Several people went there. You see some people will go with their phone and they will record and push it on air. When they push it, it becomes a regular thing all over. This is what we are going through. We don't say you should gag, we don't say you should restrain the media, but they must push out what will be interest for this nation.
Well, we have to thank you very much.
But I just want to
yes. Go ahead, Markwe.
government is also looking to work with the states around, because you have said that, you know, a lot of what you're facing are terrorists and bandits pushing in on Kogi from different states. You mentioned Niger, you mentioned Kwara, you mentioned Nasarawa. Are you also trying to partner with these states to see how it is that you can also get rid, so that in case you are able to even do, when you are doing clearance operations and they run into the states, you know, there is no hiding place for them in those states?
Yes, I agree. So if we don't have that cooperation, remember the governors, they meet and they discuss security. Just early last year, the governor of Ekiti hosted state security advisor of Kogi, Kwara, Osun, Ekiti. For 2 days, we were with the governor to review what is happening in Kogi, what is happening in Kwara. Those kind of cooperation is key to effective policing of our borders. Today, we are having challenge in Bagana, which the governor of the state was able to resolve. We are having influx of Agatus from Benue coming to Bagana, with militants from Nasarawa crossing the water to Bagana. As soon as we resolve it, we now have on-land influx of Agatu through Ajogoju Ojo, also in Omala local government. All these are things that you cannot hear in the public. Today, the state government, through the influx, we have been able to resolve conflicts in that Bagana area because we have a forward operation base right now comprising the army, the navy, the police, the DSS. They are there, and civil defense. They are there. So if there is no cooperation between two states, it becomes a serious issue. We are having problems. Let me tell you a story. What happened?
Commander, I'm afraid we do not have time for stories right now. I just wanted to quickly get your...
I will have given you it's okay. We'll go ahead.
All right. We have to thank you very much. We hope that you are able to achieve the clearance operations which you are hoping to carry out, and that you know, there'll be more incidences like this where security threats are foiled. We have to thank you very much for speaking to us about this particular incident this morning. Navy Commander Jerry Omodara, thank you so much for speaking with us on Sunrise.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, we're speaking with retired Navy Commander Jerry Omodara, who is the State Security Advisor to the Kogi State Government. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll be switching gears to politics. Please stay with us. Indeed, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo joins us right now. He is a lawyer and politician, a chieftain of the African Democratic Congress, and also a columnist. It's good to see a man of many parts, I must say. I do not know if you also wear any hat around security, because, you know, I mean, these are some of the things that political parties also have to sell to the electorate ahead of the elections. What will your party be telling Nigerians that they want to do in terms of the current security challenges confronting all of us?
Oh, well, good morning, viewers. And it's really very pathetic. What is going on in Nigeria is failure of government, failure of leadership, failure of Tinubu, and failure of APC. We all know that constitutionally, the primary duty of any government is security and welfare of the people, Section 14(2)(b) of the Constitution. And if you fail in security, you have failed in all. This is very clear. And thank God we have a candidate now that has emerged. And even in his acceptance speech, he made it very clear that in security, you have to first and foremost embark on massive new recruitments. Then you train those people. That's what Atiku Abubakar said in his acceptance speech. You train them for the asymmetric war that we have now seen. The guerrilla warfare that people come, steal people in the city, take them to the forest, and begin to ask for ransom. Then after training, you provide modern and adequate security, adequate equipment. They have to be modern, they have to be adequate. Can you imagine? They are still giving hunters gun to face people with AK-47, AK-49 in the forest to go and fight them. What a shame. And after providing the equipment, you provide welfare for the security agencies. And after that, you provide effective leadership and proper coordination amongst all the security agencies. We ought to battle these people from the air, from the land, from the sea, from everywhere, because they are now constituting themselves an insurgent group. And if they have a link across themselves, that is how they can take out a government and establish government of barbarians. What prevents every state from having an helicopter that will be spying on these people, having a drone that will be spying on these people, and they will spy on them from the air, then deploy special forces each time they locate them in the forest. The special forces will take out these terrorists and bandits and kidnappers and rescue the people involved. That is what Atiku Abubakar is going to do. That's what he promised in acceptance speech. He did it before as vice president with Obasanjo. We experienced the greatest security from 1999 to 2007, and he will do it again. Tinubu has failed. What about the issue of state police? It was the Southwest that was in the vanguard of preaching restructuring. And restructuring includes providing state police. Immediately Tinubu came in. Rather than saying insecurity is gone, he said fuel subsidy is gone. Everything that ought to be for the welfare of the people, this president is closing.
Can I ask
whatever
you?
that is supposed to be for the security of the people, he is distancing himself. Give people state police. It will not take you a month to get the amendment, and every state will be responsible for its security.
Yeah,
in America.
We do know.
You have state police,
moment,
you have federal police, you have community police, you have university police. Even when you're riding on the road and you exceed your kilometer, a dispatch rider, policeman will ride in front of you, step down and look at Nigeria.
I want to ask you though, I mean, because we have heard this conversation around state police has been going on for a while now.
Yes.
We've been hearing, and in fact, we know that the current IGP has a committee on board, you know, to try and see how they can implement this state police. It's unclear what the challenges are, but I don't know if it's a conversation that your party is also following, because sometimes it's not for lack of wanting to do the things that you have. It's one thing to say it, as they say, you campaign in what's that now? You campaign as a poem, and then you have to execute in prose. That's how they say it. You know. So, are you paying attention to some of the challenges that perhaps this current party is currently facing, and paying attention to what exactly you will do differently should you get the opportunity to be able to implement some of the things that you're campaigning with?
But it's a shame that this government is playing politics with the lives of Nigerians. What has the duty of Inspector General of Police to do with state police? They are just trying to use this to buy time because they don't want to do it. When you want state police, you amend Section 214 of the Constitution that said you should have only one police.
So that's the sense you get. The sense you get
is that the duty of the IG police to amend the Constitution? Yes. Tinubu does not want state police until after the election, so that he will use federal police to intimidate and manipulate the opposition people so that there won't be any resistance when they want to rig elections.
So you think that is what is behind all of this?
Sure. Can't you see? The inspector, this inspector of police came. Committee. What has come out of the committee? How many months now? I saw Femi Gbajabiamila in one corner talking committee with the Inspector General of Police. Let me tell you the process of state police. The National Assembly will amend Section 214 and give power, and I would support that they should give the power to the National Assembly to make laws for the state police, not every state, so that we will still have one gun. And when they amend it, they will make the consequential amendment in the Police Act to accommodate state police. And after that, the president will sign it into law, and it will become the law of Nigeria. IG of police has no business in politics. His own business is to implement the executive orders from the president and implement the laws that is from the National Assembly. They should stop playing politics with the lives of Nigeria. It is sad enough that people are dying, and it is terrible that President Tinubu is playing politics with it. IG of police has no business in the process that will give us state police. That is pure politics.
Let me switch gears now to politics, since we're talking politics, and we have seen that the coalition that was proposed hasn't quite worked as planned, and you have now come out very firmly to say that anyone who votes for the candidate of the NDC is actually voting for the APC, is voting for a vote for Mr. Peter Obi of the NDC is a vote for President Tinubu. But some people would have said that, look, ideally, because it's a free country, people are free, as many people as want to be president are free to come out. And what would have been ideal is that the opposition would have been able to coalesce and have one major arrowhead as the person whom they are presenting to Nigeria. Now that hasn't panned out. How does it work in terms of the calculations for the ADC as you go into those polls?
Let me make it clear that the opposition is working well and doing well. The coalition is flourishing. Remember, all the opposition leaders came together and chose ADC. ADC is still remaining, despite the efforts of this incompetent and corrupt APC trying to legislate and litigate us out of existence. We resisted them, and through the power of the collectivity, we are flourishing. You're talking about the renegades that left ADC, the coalition, to go into NDC. Sorry, I have just discovered something that is very disheartening. It is not just that they are going to, that anybody who is voting for NDC or P2B is voting for Tinubu. Anybody who is voting for NDC and P2B is voting for criminality. And I will prove it with facts. I will call names. There is one man called Obunike Ohebu, the House of Representatives aspirant, Newi North and Newi South, and Ekusigo local government from Anambra State. He sent an SOS to me, and he said that P2B is now the head of the criminality, that they were scammed in NDC. And he said, Kwakwanso went back to his people and made sure that every constituency produced one candidate so that they will not be scammed. But P2B told them that all of them, the aspirants, should go into the field, and that they thought they were going to have primaries. Remember, Sereka Dixon came out and said, once you pay your expression of interest form, you are not going to pay any money. When you are now the one that is nominated, that's when they will take nomination fee. And all of them ran into it. Then P2B and the leaders of the Southeast now went and told them, anybody who wants to be House of Rep person, after paying that expression of interest, must pay 10 million naira bribe, and Senate 20 million naira bribe. When they were
bribe to who?
Bribe to the NDC and the caucus. They call them caucus leaders in the Southeast. This was what he wrote it and sent to me, and sent me the receipt, because they told him he needed money to campaign for his presidency. Now, when they downplayed, they were told individually. So they thought they were now the chosen candidate, that maybe that is the nomination fee. When all of them paid, they discovered there were many. Then we are now told to go into the field for direct primary. And when they now went into the field, they thought that there was going to be genuine primary. And as they were in that field, killing themselves, P2B was in John Wood Hotel. He mentioned the hotel, writing the list of candidates. And after that, they submitted it. You know what he said? He said, I am not disappointed that I lost the ticket. I am rather disappointed that I invested my time, resources, and reputation in a process that is becoming increasingly opaque and inconsistent with the democratic principles it proclaimed. And this is another man from Enugu State, a highly political person, sent to me. And you know what he said? He said, I have a direct taste of the fraud called P2B. Recently in NDC.
But we must put that, yes.
NDC has become a national dialogue for criminality.
No, but just a moment.
Discussion of criminals.
Mr. Okonkwo, you do acknowledge that that was the testimony of one person, and it's an allegation.
No.
You haven't investigated that.
Hold on.
To be able to say you did your own investigation,
yes,
and you found it to be true.
What, did you know what Aisha said? He said they did not even give me, I'm not talking about level playing ground. They did not give me ground at all. He said it on TV. I'm talking about corroboration. A lot of them have said it. And you know why I'm annoyed? You said I did the investigation. I am the leader of ADC in Enugu State. The same people we fought that they will not extort the aspirants. They are the people that went to NDC and they started extorting the aspirants. NDC has come out with a statement trying to distance themselves from what is happening in the Southeast. And they said it is the caucus leaders in the Southeast that are responsible.
Yeah.
P2B from Anambra State, Okwesile Nwodo from Enugu State, Ugochukwu Onyema from Abia State, Achiku Denwa from Imo State, and what else is remaining?
Yeah, but don't you think that
yes.
is? I mean,
Sam Ebon
I'm not trying
Five
to
states in the Southeast.
Exonerate
you know what
anyone.
I'm telling you? We want to bring new leadership in the Southeast because of leaders like this. That is why Southeast has been coming last in Nigerian politics. Southeast people are marginalized in the federal government. We fight to eat. And after that, some of our leaders are calling us and scamming us. I told them that P2B is going to scam them.
Yeah, but
that is a political con man. Look at what is happening.
I'm saying that again.
You will go to diaspora. I don't give shish, but you collect shish.
Mr. Okonkwo, I think it's important. I think it's important to still put that this is an allegation. That is one. It is an allegation that it must be taken. And then two, some people will also say that isn't this more in the nature of how we play politics? Because we've seen that party in, party out, in spite of all the promises that are made, what we see is that the way the political actors still behave does not make us differentiate from one party to the other. Because most times the same people that people this party are the same ones that have transited to another party, and they carry their behaviors and their traditions alongside them. So don't you think that this is more about Nigerian politics rather than piling it on one person and saying that he's responsible for all that is going on within the party?
Malkwe, I am the leader of ADC in Enugu State. Go and verify whether there is any aspirant that one naira was taken from. It is not about there is no Nigerian factor in this. It is because we have incompetent and corrupt leaders. And you know the annoying thing? When they start coming out publicly to deceive the public that they are saints, that they are when they are absolute hypocrites. In NDC, it is the Southeast people that are crying most. Go and check it. And it is a testimony to their leadership. I said I experienced it firsthand in Enugu State. When we resisted them, they were the same people that went into NDC and they are perpetrating the criminality. You know, when I said it first, everybody was on my case. And I was saying, they will go and experience it.
Let me quickly, I know that Ayo will not forgive me. Ayo, over to you quickly. Questions.
Well, I mean, the conversation is hot enough. I just had one question before we swayed into politics. I just had one question about the insecurity issues that you are raising, Mr. Okonkwo. The federal government is definitely the one to take the bull by the horn, so to speak. But from experience, it has been discussed largely, even by top security officers, the retired military officers, who have said that the first line of defense in any government is the local government administrations. And the states are right there at the, doing what they do, despite all of the conversations that have gone ahead about local government autonomy and all of that, and how the states are hampering all of that. Don't you think there is some significant work that the state governments themselves need to do to ensure that we have a more secure, community all across Nigeria?
Ayo, the problem is Tinubu and APC incompetent and corrupt government. Are you not in Nigeria when Tinubu went to court, to the Supreme Court, through the Attorney General, that the money of the local government will be transferred to them directly so that development will be experienced at that level? Has it been done till today? A government that went to court itself and got a judgment and everybody applauded it. Now they are playing politics with it. If you do not give a governor state police, then the governor is blackmailable. If he goes on his own to use force and use some equipment that was not approved for him, and take the risk of trying to fight these miscreants and criminals. If there is anything that goes wrong, that's when the federal government will remind him that what he's doing is illegal. Give people state police. Give the local government community police. We have what it takes. We have the men, materials, and money in this country to take out any insurgent in this country. Look at what happened in Oyo when the kidnappers kidnapped the wrong person. And when the wrong person did the right thing, I'm sure he must have given them real injection. You saw how the security officers moved in a special forces form and rescued the sister and the twins of the former minister of power. If you give the security agencies the right thing, they will do the right thing. We don't have insecurity problem. What we have is incompetent and corrupt leaders. When good leaders come in, Nigerian problem can be wiped out in 6 months. That I can assure you. The local governments are not operating because they are disabled. By the time the federal government gives their money through the state, by the time the state subtract their own, they are left with money to pay salaries. Structural problem is what we have in this country. When we restructure, we will have the beautiful thing that we need. If you check the acceptance speech of Atiku Abubakar, you will see restructuring. He said proper arrangement amongst the constituent units in Nigeria. We need it in this country so that we can prosper.
And I'm sure that a lot of Nigerians are looking forward to prospering,
Yes.
whatever the outcomes of the 2027 elections will be. We certainly will be looking forward to the campaigns and debates. We're hoping that all the parties will subscribe to the idea of a debate at many levels. We'll be able to see which ones are bringing out the best ideas. We have to thank you very much, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo. Time is never enough when we're speaking with you, and we hope that you'll come again whenever it is that we call. Thank you so much for coming on Sunrise Daily.
Thank you.
Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo is a lawyer and politician, a chieftain of the African Democratic Congress, a public affairs analyst, and a columnist, and has been speaking with us here in our Abuja studios. Well, that's where we draw the curtains on Monday's edition of Sunrise Daily. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm Maokbe Ogun Yusuf.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. Business Morning is on the hour. Have a wonderful rest of your day.